You've probably heard this line before. It's not you, it's just your brain. And yeah, there's some truth to that. But what about the part of you that actually lives inside of that brain? The one who feels, reacts, dreams, and reflects. That is your mind. And in neurotherapy, we don't separate the two. We work with both because together they form the language of your experience. Think of your brain and brainwaves as syntax. They reveal the rules, the rhythms, and structure of your thoughts. And your mind? Think of that as the semantics, the meaning that comes from the structure. In language, syntax is the grammar, the order or sequence of the words. The cat chased the mouse is not the same as the mouse chased the cat. Same words, but different structure, different meaning. That meaning is semantics. Now let's apply this to your brain. If the syntax, your brain's signals and brainwaves, is out of balance, the meaning, your emotions, focus, or even sense of self, can become distorted. That's when your experience just feels off. The signal doesn't match the story. And when we help your brain shift the syntax, the semantics will naturally follow. That's what we do in neurotherapy. We don't hand out labels. We read your brainwaves, the syntax of your thoughts, and we look at how those patterns are shaping your experience. Maybe your brain's producing too much fast beta when it should be resting. Or maybe theta is running too high, causing brain fog when you need to focus. These aren't disorders. They're just patterns. And when we retrain those patterns, the mind responds. Often without ever needing to talk through your problems. We simply change the signal, and your story rewrites itself. It all starts here with what I call the squiggles. This is your surface EEG, raw data. Really, there's no substitute for scrolling through this manually, line by line, and asking, what's it like to live in this brain? We're not just looking at spikes or gross anomalies. We're looking at persistence, at rhythm and reactivity. So here's an example. We see some right posterior temporal alpha. This often shows up in people with trauma. The brain is pulling back from sensory experience, a kind of a low-grade dissociation, in order to protect itself. It's not broken. It's adapting. And it may have made sense at the time, but now it's no longer serving you. When we train that pattern to re-engage, people often say things like, I feel like I'm back in my body. Next, we'll look at the deeper rhythms through the FFT spectra. This shows the power of your brain activity across different frequencies at different sites on your scalp. This is the same data as the squiggles, just organized into convenient charts so we can see everything all at once. In this case, we're looking at some frontal theta, likely from the anterior cingulate cortex. I often see this pattern in people struggling with attention or even with OCD-like overthinking. Again, not a diagnosis, just a pattern that leads to symptoms. And when we retrain that, the internal noise settles. People often say things like, I finally feel clear, like I can think again. So this is the heart of it. I don't start with flashy brain maps. I start with the squiggles. I get to know your brain by sitting with its rhythm, by watching it move. Because that's where the real intelligence is. It's not in a label, but in a pattern. And when we shift the pattern, the mind reorganizes. Without force, and often even without willpower. When we change the signal, the meaning and experience follows. Now here's a deeper layer. Your brain isn't operating in a vacuum. It's embedded in a biological, emotional, and energetic system. That's why I work from what I call the peak performance hierarchy of needs. Sometimes we have to zoom out from the brain to the body. Things like environment, blood sugar, inflammation, sleep, even nervous system tone. All of that feeds into how your brain functions and how your mind feels. So if you've ever been told it's just your brain or try this one mindset trick and you still feel off, you're not crazy. Your mind and brain might just be speaking different dialects. And neurotherapy can help bring them into sync. I've created a free crash course that will walk you through how all of this works, and it's called the Peak Mind Blueprint. The link's in the description. If any of this resonates, please subscribe, because this is just the beginning.